Hello, everyone.
Welcome to Spoken English Podcast.
Sam, I want to tell you about a moment that quietly changed my life, and honestly, it wasn't dramatic at all.
Okay, now I'm curious. What happened?
About a year ago, I was complaining to a friend about how stuck I felt. Same routine, same habits, nothing changing. And she just looked at me and said, "Well, what have you actually changed this month?"
Ouch. Simple question, but powerful.
Exactly. And I realized nothing. I wanted my life to change, but I hadn't changed anything about how I lived it.
That's such an honest realization.
It really hit me. I think a lot of us wait for life to feel different instead of actually doing something different.
So today's topic is basically born from that moment.
Exactly. How to actually change your life, not through some huge dramatic transformation, but through real, doable steps and the English to talk about them.
Because change your life sounds like a big, scary phrase, but it usually starts really small.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Spoken English Podcast, your friendly place to learn real, everyday English through natural conversation.
I'm Sam.
And I'm Mira, and today we're talking about something big, but we're going to make it feel simple. How to change your life.
Not overnight, not perfectly, but in real, practical ways, and with the English to describe that journey.
This episode is great for A2 to B1 learners. We'll keep the language clear and useful so you can talk about your own goals and changes with confidence.
Later, we'll slow down for our word tour, useful words and phrases about change and growth.
And near the end, in Say It Better, we'll take some simple sentences and make them sound more natural and motivated.
So get comfortable and let's talk about changing your life.
Sam, let's start with something real. Why do you think so many people want to change their life, but so few actually do?
I think it's because people wait for motivation or the right moment instead of just starting with something small right now.
That's such a good point. People often think change needs to be huge to count.
Exactly, and that pressure actually stops people from starting at all.
So what's a better way to think about it?
I think the phrase small steps really matters here. You could say, I'm taking small steps to change my routine. It removes the pressure of doing everything at once.
Small steps. I really like that. It feels achievable, not overwhelming.
Exactly, and most real change actually happens that way, quietly, one small step at a time.
Let's talk about the first part of real change, awareness. Before someone can change anything, don't they need to notice what's not working?
Absolutely. You could say, I realized I was stuck in the same routine, or I noticed I kept avoiding the same thing every day.
Stuck. That word really captures that feeling of being unable to move forward.
It does, and naming that feeling is actually the first real step towards change.
What if someone doesn't know exactly what needs to change, just that something feels off?
That's completely normal. They could say, something felt off, but I couldn't explain exactly what. That's an honest, natural way to describe that vague, uncomfortable feeling.
You could say, I realized I was stuck in a routine that wasn't working for me, or something felt off and I finally decided to figure out why.
Perfect examples for that starting point of change.
Let's talk about habits specifically, because I feel like real life change usually comes down to daily habits, not big events.
Completely agree. You could say, I'm trying to build better habits, or I replaced one bad habit with a small good one.
Replaced. That's such a useful word. It's more realistic than just saying stopped a habit completely.
Exactly, because habits usually need something to fill that space, not just disappear on their own.
Can you give an example of what that might look like in daily life?
Sure, someone might say, instead of checking my phone first thing in the morning, I started drinking water first. That's such a small, doable change.
I love how specific that is. It's not, I'm becoming healthier, it's one tiny, clear action.
Exactly. Specific actions are so much easier to actually follow through on.
What about people who try to change too many things at once and then feel overwhelmed and give up completely?
Oh, this happens constantly. You could say, I tried to change everything at once and I burned out. Burned out means becoming completely exhausted, mentally and physically, from too much pressure.
Burned out. Such an important word, especially for people trying to improve their lives too aggressively.
Exactly, and burnout often causes people to give up entirely, which is the opposite of what they wanted.
So, what's a healthier approach?
Focusing on one change at a time. You could say, I'm focusing on one change at a time instead of everything at once.
That feels so much more sustainable.
It really is. Sustainable change beats dramatic, short-lived change almost every time.
Let's talk about environment, because I think where we spend our time affects our life more than people realize.
Definitely. You could say, I changed my environment to support my goals. For example, keeping your running shoes by the door if you want to exercise more.
That's such a simple trick, making the good choice easier to reach.
Exactly. Environment often shapes behavior more than willpower does.
What about people around us? Do relationships play a role in changing your life too?
Absolutely, and it can be a difficult topic. You could say, I started spending more time with people who support my goals, or more honestly, I had to create some distance from certain relationships.
Create some distance. That's such a gentle way to talk about a hard decision.
It is, and it doesn't require blaming anyone. It simply acknowledges that not every relationship supports the direction you want to grow in.
Let's pause here for a moment. If you're enjoying this episode so far, please take a second to like this video, and if you haven't already, subscribe to Spoken English Podcast.
And we'd love to hear from you in the comments. Tell us, what's one small change you'd like to make in your life? We really do read your comments, so don't be shy.
All right, let's continue. Sam, what about fear? I think fear stops a lot of people from even starting to change anything.
Oh, fear is huge here. You could say, I was scared to leave my comfort zone. The comfort zone is that familiar, safe space where nothing challenges you, but nothing grows either.
Comfort zone. Such a well-known phrase, but so true.
It really is. Growth usually happens right outside that zone, in that uncomfortable, uncertain space.
What helps someone actually take that first uncomfortable step?
Often, it's reframing fear as normal, not as a stop sign. You could say, feeling nervous doesn't mean I should stop. Or, I'm scared, but I'm doing it anyway.
I love that. Scared, but doing it anyway. That's such an honest, brave sentence.
Exactly. Courage isn't the absence of fear, it's moving forward with it.
Let's talk about setbacks, because change is rarely a smooth, straight line, right?
Never a straight line, honestly. You could say, I had a setback, but I'm getting back on track. Back on track means returning to your plan after some disruption.
Back on track. That phrase feels so hopeful, like a train continuing its journey.
Exactly. It acknowledges the interruption without treating it as a total failure.
What if someone feels embarrassed about needing to start over multiple times?
That's such a common feeling, but starting over isn't shameful. You could say, I've had to start over a few times, but each time I learned something. That reframes repetition as growth, not failure.
You could say, I had a small setback, but I'm getting back on track. Or, I've started over a few times, and that's okay.
Beautifully honest phrases for real, non-linear change.
Let's talk about other people's opinions for a moment, because I think that stops a lot of people, too. What happens when the people around you don't understand or support the change you're trying to make?
This is such a difficult, real situation. Sometimes family or old friends might say, why are you changing? You were fine before. And that can be really discouraging.
How would someone talk about that experience in English?
They could say, not everyone understood why I was changing, but I stayed committed anyway. Or some people doubted me, but I kept going.
Doubted me. That's such a useful phrase. It shows the external pressure without making it the center of the story.
Exactly, and it puts the focus back on your own persistence, not on proving anyone wrong.
I think that's such an important shift. Changing your life for yourself, not to prove a point to other people.
Completely agree. Change driven by spite usually doesn't last as long as change driven by genuine desire.
Let's talk about career changes specifically now, since that's one of the biggest, scariest types of life change for a lot of people.
Definitely. Career change carries a lot of fear. Financial fear, identity fear, fear of starting over. You could say, I decided to pursue a completely different career path, or I took a leap and changed my career at 30.
Took a leap. That phrase captures that scary, exciting jump so well.
It really does. It's brave, but also a little uncertain, exactly how career changes usually feel.
What about someone who's thinking about a career change, but hasn't taken action yet?
They could say, I've been considering a career change for a while now. That shows the thought process without pressure to have already decided.
You could say, I took a leap and changed my career last year, or I've been considering a career change for a while.
Very natural, honest phrases for that specific kind of life change.
Let's talk about health and physical changes too, since that's such a common area people want to improve.
Definitely. You could say, I started prioritizing my health more. Prioritizing means putting something first, treating it as genuinely important.
Prioritizing, such a strong, clear word.
It is, and it works for so many areas. Health, sleep, relationships, not just fitness.
What if someone's health journey has been slow and inconsistent rather than a straight success story?
They could honestly say, my health journey hasn't been perfect, but I keep coming back to it. That's such a realistic human description.
You could say, I'm prioritizing my health more this year, or my health journey hasn't been perfect, but I keep coming back to it.
Both such honest, relatable sentences.
Let's talk about journaling or self-reflection, because I think that's an underrated tool for actually noticing change happening.
Oh, I completely agree. You could say, I started journaling to track my progress. Journaling simply means writing down your thoughts regularly, often as a way to process feelings or notice patterns.
Track my progress. I like how practical that sounds, almost like following a map.
Exactly, and it helps people notice small wins they might otherwise forget, especially during slow periods.
What if someone tried journaling but didn't keep it up consistently?
They could say, I journal on and off, but even that little bit helps. On and off means inconsistently, sometimes doing it, sometimes not.
You could say, I started journaling to track my progress, or I journal on and off, but it still helps.
Great, honest phrases for imperfect self-reflection habits.
Let's talk about mindset again briefly, since we covered it in a previous episode, but it connects so directly here too.
It really does. You could say, I stopped waiting to feel ready and just started. Waiting for perfect readiness often means waiting forever.
Waiting to feel ready. That's such a common trap.
It is, because readiness usually comes after you start, not before.
Let's talk about support systems now. How important is it to have people who encourage your changes?
Incredibly important. You could say, having someone to check in with kept me accountable. Accountable means responsible in a way that helps you stay consistent because someone else is aware of your goals.
Accountable. Such a useful word for describing that gentle pressure that actually helps.
Exactly. It's not about pressure from judgment. It's support that keeps you consistent.
What if someone doesn't have that kind of support around them right now?
They could say, I'm learning to hold myself accountable. It shows self-responsibility even without external support.
You could say, having a friend check in on my progress really helped. Or, I'm learning to hold myself accountable.
Both such useful, real phrases.
Let's talk about identity again briefly, because I think real change often connects to how someone sees themselves, not just what they do.
Completely agree. You could say, I'm becoming someone who takes better care of themselves. That shift in identity often drives lasting change.
That connects so well to our mindset episode too. Everything really is connected.
It really is. Change, mindset, identity, they all support each other.
Let's talk about letting go of your old self for a moment, because I think that's something people don't talk about enough. Change sometimes means leaving behind a version of yourself you were comfortable with.
That's such a deep point. You could say, I had to let go of who I used to be. That's not always sad. Sometimes it's actually a relief.
What does that look like in daily conversation?
Someone might say, I'm not the same person I was 5 years ago, and I'm proud of that. That shows growth without criticizing your past self harshly.
You could say, I had to let go of who I used to be. Or, I'm not the same person I was a few years ago, and I'm proud of that.
Such powerful, reflective sentences.
Let's talk about celebrating progress, because I feel like people focus so much on the end goal, they forget to notice small wins along the way.
Such an important point. You could say, I'm learning to celebrate small wins. A small win might be simply following through on one small promise to yourself.
Small wins. That phrase feels so encouraging.
It is, because change built only on the faraway future often loses motivation. Small wins keep people going.
What about people who feel like their progress is too small to matter?
They could say, it might seem small, but it matters to me. That validates their own experience regardless of outside opinions.
You could say, I'm learning to celebrate small wins along the way, or it might seem small, but it matters to me.
Such empowering, honest phrases.
Let's talk about patience now, because I think that's something people underestimate when trying to change their life.
Definitely. You could say, change takes longer than I expected, and that's okay. Expecting instant results often leads to disappointment and giving up too soon.
Takes longer than expected. Such a realistic, grounding phrase.
It really is. Real change usually unfolds slowly, even when it doesn't feel that way in the moment.
Let's talk about long-term vision now, because I think it's important to look beyond just the daily small steps sometimes.
True. You could say, I try to keep the bigger picture in mind. The bigger picture means the overall goal or direction beyond just today's small effort.
Bigger picture. I like how that balances out all those small daily actions we talked about.
Exactly. Small steps without any bigger picture can start to feel meaningless, so it helps to remember why you started.
You could say, I try to keep the bigger picture in mind even on hard days. That's such a grounding sentence.
It really is, and it connects perfectly with everything else we've talked about today.
Let's bring this all together, Sam. If someone remembers just one thing from today's episode, what should it be?
I think it's this. Changing your life doesn't require one dramatic moment. It requires small, honest steps repeated over time, even through setbacks, fear, doubt, and slow progress.
That's such a hopeful, realistic way to think about change.
It really is, because it means anyone can start, right now, exactly where they are.
All right, let's slow down now and go through today's word tour. Useful words and phrases about change and growth.
Let's begin with our first phrase, small steps.
Small steps. Small steps.
This phrase describes making gradual progress instead of trying to change everything at once.
You could say, I'm taking small steps toward my goal, or small steps eventually lead to big changes.
Nice examples. Let's move to our second word, stuck.
Stuck. Stuck.
Stuck describes feeling unable to move forward or change your situation.
You could say, I felt stuck in my old routine, or I don't want to feel stuck anymore.
Our third phrase is burned out.
Burned out. Burned out.
This describes becoming completely exhausted, physically or mentally, often from too much pressure.
For example, I burned out trying to change too much at once, or I felt burned out by the end of the month.
Phrase number 4, comfort zone.
Comfort zone. Comfort zone.
This describes a familiar, safe space where nothing challenges or scares you, but growth also doesn't happen there.
You could say, I stepped outside my comfort zone, or growth happens outside your comfort zone.
Our fifth phrase is back on track.
Back on track. Back on track.
This means returning to your plan or goal after a setback or interruption.
For example, I had a setback, but I'm getting back on track. Or, it took a while, but I'm finally back on track.
Word number 6, took a leap.
Took a leap. Took a leap.
This means making a brave, sometimes risky decision to pursue something new.
You could say, I took a leap and changed my career. Or, it took courage to take that leap.
Our seventh word is prioritizing.
Prioritizing. Prioritizing.
This means treating something as genuinely important and giving it your time and attention first.
For example, I'm prioritizing my health this year. Or, I started prioritizing rest over constant busyness.
And our final phrase today is small wins.
Small wins. Small wins.
These are small, meaningful moments of progress worth noticing and celebrating along the way.
You could say, I try celebrating small wins, or small wins keep me motivated.
So today's phrases were small steps, stuck, burned out, comfort zone, back on track, took a leap, prioritizing, and small wins.
Try picking just one or two of these and using them the next time you think about your own personal growth.
Now let's move to one of my favorite parts, say it better. We'll take a few simple sentences and make them sound smoother and more natural.
Let's start with this one. A learner might say, I want to change my life but not know how.
That's honest, but we can smooth it into, I want to change my life, but I'm still figuring out how.
Much more natural. Here's another one. I try change everything, now I very tired.
We can smooth that into, I tried to change everything at once and I burned out.
That flows so much better. Next sentence. I stopped trying because I scared.
A more honest, confident version would be, I was scared, but I'm doing it anyway.
I love that upgrade. It turns fear into courage. Next one. My progress small, not important.
You could smooth that out into, it might seem small, but it matters to me.
Here's another common one. Many people say I am wrong to change my job.
A more mature way to express that is, some people doubted me, but I stayed committed anyway.
That sounds so much stronger. One more. I change slow, not fast like other people.
You could smooth that out into, change takes longer than I expected, and that's okay.
These small changes really do make a big difference in how motivated and mature your English sounds.
Absolutely. It's not about complicated vocabulary. It's about choosing words that reflect real growth.
So today, we talked about how to change your life, starting with awareness, building small habits, changing your environment, managing fear, handling setbacks, dealing with other people's doubt, career changes, health, journaling, and celebrating small wins along the way.
And I hope this episode reminded you that changing your life isn't one big moment, it's many small, honest choices repeated over time.
Maybe I'll finally answer that question differently next time someone asks what I've changed lately.
Small steps, right?
Exactly that. If this episode helped you, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Spoken English Podcast so you never miss a new lesson.
And we genuinely love to hear from you. Tell us in the comments, what's one small change you'd like to make in your life?
Also, if you know someone who's trying to make a change right now, please share this episode with them. It might give them just the encouragement they need.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Take care of your English and take care of your growth too.
This is Mira.
And this is Sam.
And you've been listening to Spoken English Podcast. Bye for now.
Take care, everyone. See you in the next episode.